In this video, I want to share one thing on how you can take back the power. You may have heard the phrase, as you sow, so shall you reap. Sometimes when we contemplate life and you think about where you are today, maybe you're sitting there feeling, I'm exactly where I want to be in terms of health, in terms of wealth, in terms of relationships, in terms of emotional well-being, mental well-being, spiritual well-being, and relation with your family and your kids and where you live. You just feel so full of life. More than likely, that is not the case for the majority of people. They feel maybe a bit disappointed about where they are in life. They may feel a bit sad. They may feel a bit triggered by certain things, certain decisions they've made, and where they ended up. I want you to consider this. I want you to contemplate this. As you sow, so shall you reap. We have quite a bit of power, quite a bit of influence when it comes to where we are in life. And for me, some things is really hard to think about because I know the decisions that I made have been beneficial and some have not been beneficial, but they have essentially been the framework, the path to where I ended up today. And there's some things I'm so grateful for, and there's some things I wish I made different decisions. And there's two ways to look at your life and your decisions. One way is to have what's often referred to as a victim mentality. And essentially, the victim mentality, you blame everybody and everyone for everything that happened. I will say that there are, of course, situations where people did things that was outside of our control. So circumstances that we could not control, but that deeply affected us. And if you've gone through something, I certainly want to have compassion for that, and I certainly want to have understanding for that. And we have history as well that showed us that there's so many traumatic experiences people go through, and of course their lives are completely altered. But there are some fascinating stories in the most tragic historical events, such as, for example, the Holocaust. We see people's life being completely altered, completely taken advantage of, completely abolished by evil. And in those circumstances, the most dire, horrific circumstances, we see glimmers of hope, glimmers of people that are able somehow in the most challenging situations and circumstances that I cannot imagine because I've never been close to being in those situations. But there were people that were able to flip somehow through the most amazing and astonishing human willpower and the desire for survival. So they flipped from having a victim mentality, blaming everybody, to have a victor mentality. And they used amazing human motivation and human desire for survival to somehow think a different way. And in those circumstances, they also gave. They also contributed to other prisoners. They were starving, they were hungry, and they had a little bit of bread left, and they broke it and shared it with their fellow prisoner. So I'm thinking, as I'm contemplating this historical event and some of the heroic stories that we hear from those that survived, if they can do it, can we do it? Can we flip that switch in our mind? The power that we have, as Viktor Frankl said, the last of human freedoms is the ability to think, the ability to choose. No one can take that from you. You have the ability to choose, and in that choice lies freedom. This is something I find extremely fascinating, extremely challenging on an everyday basis to choose how to think, to choose how to behave, to choose how to act, to choose how to love, can we take back the power up here and here? Well, because once you are able to love yourself in a way that, despite what's going on around you, you understand your inherent value and you know that you are enough just the way you are. The way you were created is the way you were meant to be created. You are unique, uniquely powerful, and you have a role to play in this life. And once you understand that and really internalize and believe that, you are going to feel a whole lot better because you've changed the story. You've changed the story about yourself, and you start changing your identity. And your identity often shapes the trajectory of your life. What you do, how you behave, is often based on your identity. The more you do it, the more it reinforces itself and becomes a habitual pattern nestled very deep in your subconscious mind. But you can actually flip that. And they do say repetition is the mother of all skills. So if you repeat it enough, at least I think it's worth a try. If you're in a place today where you feel life, I don't like it. If that's where you are, isn't it worth a try to try and say, hey, these are the facts that I see in my life, but I'm going to aim for this. This is where I want to go. This is what I'm going to believe. So yes, these are the facts. I see it. I'm in it. I believe it, but no more. I'm going to write a new story. And the story begins with chapter 1. And I believe when we take those steps, which aren't easy, they're hard, but they're quite simple, you will see a change in yourself. If anything, you'll see a change in yourself. And I do believe you'll start feeling better about yourself. And what that feeling better about yourself, you start seeing things in a different way, in a different light. And as you do that, as you see small victories, I urge you, consider your fellow human beings. We're all in the same boat. We're all in the same boat. And people generally want the same thing. They want to be loved. They want to be respected. They want to be understood. And if they don't treat you the way that you ought to be treated, try. Make an effort to still treat them the way that you think every human being should be treated, with compassion, with love. And as we grow in our awareness, as we grow in our competence, as we grow in our compassion, as we grow in our love for ourselves, that we can actually give more of that love. It will overflow. So, just some thoughts about life, about our mindset, about the victim mentality versus the victor mentality. Hopefully find it helpful. If you do, leave a comment below, hit that like button, subscribe button, and may God bless you.